Welcome to the Graupner mz-32 radio tutorial series. In this video, we would like to show you how to set up your first airplane model. If you've been following our previous tutorials where we showed you the base menu functions, you will notice that we will be using the same workflow to set up our first model. For our first model, we will have the following configuration: 2 ailerons and 2 flaps, landing gear, throttle control. For this tutorial, we'll be using the included GR24 12-channel receiver. So let's get started. From the mz-32 main screen, we tap on the menu icon, which brings us to the base menu. We select Model List, which brings us to the menu where we can load, delete, copy, or create new models. Tap on the airplane number on the number column to activate the Model Edit toolbar and tap on the plus sign to create a new model. A keypad will show where you can enter the model name. Let's call it First Model and press the Enter key to move to the next menu. The default model type is airplane, which you can change by tapping on the airplane icon. For now, we leave it on airplane model type. Tap on the wing type icon to set the wing type to 2 aileron and 2 flaps. Our tail type is a normal tail with elevator and rudder. Our throttle is activated by moving the throttle stick from the rear to the front, which is the default throttle setting. We have a single-engine airplane, and the stick mode is set to the mode you specified during the initial setup, which in our case is Mode 2. You can change the stick mode if needed before you create the model. When you are satisfied with your settings, you can go ahead and create the model by tapping on the Create and Apply button. You can always come back to the Model Type menu and make changes if needed. The radio will initialize and create the new model and bring you back to the main screen, so tap on the menu icon to go back to the base menu. Our next step is to bind our receiver to our model, which is done in the RF Set menu. From the base menu, tap on the RF Set icon. Your GR24 receiver may have already come bound from the factory, but in case you need to rebind the receiver, you can follow these steps. Make sure that the receiver is powered and turned on. The red LED light will blink, indicating that no radio transmission is active. Press the Set button, and on the count of 3, tap on the RX1 bind button to establish the bind. If successful, the LED light on the receiver will turn to green and the RX column will show R12, which is the number of channels the receiver has. Tap on RF Set icon on the upper left corner to exit the RF Set menu. Next, we set up our servos in the Servo Set menu. From the base menu, tap on the Servo Set menu icon. In the Servo Set menu, you will set the servo travel direction, travel throws, and sub-trims. The channel number and name columns show which control function is associated for each channel. For example, Channel 1 is your throttle channel, and Channel 2 is for the aileron. To change the direction of the channel, tap on the Direction key icon to make the change. Please note there is a thin red line on the bottom and top right-hand corner of the screen, which indicates that the screen can be scrolled up or down and left and right to show additional function details. You can swipe the screen or use the arrow keys of the radio for scrolling. Scrolling the screen up or down will show additional channels, and scrolling left or right will show additional function details. Tap on the Trim field to make sub-trim changes. The data entry bar will show on the bottom screen from where you can use the slider to make fast changes or the arrow keys for more precise control. The Reset key will set all the values back to their defaults. When done, tap on the check mark icon. To set up your channel travels, tap on the Travel field to bring up the data entry bar. If you want to set the negative and positive travel at the same time, tap on the link icon to select both value fields and use the keys or slider to make your changes. Continue scrolling the screen to view the channel throw limits and channel delay if needed. Note that values entered in the Servo Set menu will be carried globally and are not phase dependent. Next, we will need to assign controls for our flaps and landing gear, which we will do in the Control Set menu. From the base menu, tap on the Control Set menu. If you have watched the base menu tutorial, you may already be familiar with what the Control Set menu provides. First, we need to assign a control for our flaps. Scroll down until you see the flap channel and tap on the control field. We will use switch SW5 for flaps, which is a 3-position switch. Toggle the switch to assign it to the active channel 6 and tap OK. You may want to add a bit of a delay for when the flaps are being deployed, so tap on the delay field and add a delay for when the flaps come down or up. In this example, we have 2 different values. To fine-tune the flaps, start, middle, and end position, we can go to the Detail menu and set up a curve and offset to set up our flaps. Tap on the Detail icon to view the curve menu, and select the other tab to choose your curve type. Tap on the curve type and select a multi-point curve. Tap on the Value tab to set up the way you would like your flaps to be operated. You can control the endpoints and center position by either using the arrow keys for fine-tuning or the orange tabs along the X and Y axis. Selecting curve points can be done by either tapping on the point or by tapping on the point field to increment each curve point. When done, tap on the Control Set icon on the upper left corner. We also need to set a control for our landing gear, for which we will use Channel 8. First, we name the channel by tapping on the Channel field and tapping on the Edit icon. Next step is to assign a control to the landing gear by tapping on the Control field. Let's use Switch 6, which is a 2-position switch. In case you need to reverse the landing gear direction, you can do this in the Servo Set menu where you reverse the channel, or you can edit the switch and reverse its direction. Note that when viewing the channel control assignments, we do not duplicate the controls on the same channel. For example, flaps on channel 6 have switch 5 already assigned, which will control the other flap surface on channel 7, without reassigning the same control. This applies to all dual control settings, such as aileron and flaps. At this point, we have set up our model for all basic controls, and we can start adding additional control functions. Tap Control Set in the top left corner to return to the base menu. Tap on the Trim Set menu where we will add a digital trim to the flap channel. Tap on the bottom trim number to bring up the Edit toolbar and press the plus sign for adding a trim channel. Tap on the flap field to select it. In the Control field, we can assign the control we would like to use, which in this case will be a digital trim DT5. Tap on the flap control field and activate the DT5 control on your radio to record that control for the flap trim. Exit back to the base menu to assign a Throttle Cut switch. Tap on the Throttle Cut icon. Tapping on the Control field brings up the Input Control dialog. Toggle Switch 2 briefly to register that switch for the throttle hold function. You can assign the on or off position of the switch by tapping on any of the 3 on-off fields to highlight the desired position. Check the operation of the throttle cut by moving the throttle stick to verify that there is no output. You can also confirm the switch state in the action field. Next, we will set our dual rates and expos. From the base menu, tap and select Dual Rate Expo menu. You can have, in total, 8 different rates and expos with up to 4 different rate values for each. Tap on the Aileron detail icon, where we will assign our switches and rate values. The first screen is the basic menu where you can select from 2 different curve types and set the rates global or phase dependent. Tap on the QREX tab, where we will be assigning our switches. We will assign a single switch to set up triple rates for our ailerons. Tap on the Control 1 field, which brings up the Input Control dialog, and toggle Switch 4 to register this control. We will use the lower part of the switch for low rates, the middle position for medium rates, and the upper position for high rates. Repeat this for each switch position, and verify each switch position by moving the switches where you will notice the active switch position on the left column. Tap on the Value tab to enter the rate values for each switch position. The first switch position is our low rates, shown as number 2. Tap on the Rate field to bring up the entry keys on the bottom. To have the values recorded equally for each rate, tap on the chain icon and tap and hold the arrow keys to increase or decrease the rate values, or use the yellow slider tab on the left. The same applies for the Expo settings. Tap on the Expo field and make the changes for each switch position. Repeat this process for each of the switch positions. Next, we set up our flight timer. Return to the base menu. Tap on the Timer Set menu to enter the timer menu. You can have, in total, 6 different timers. To add a timer, tap on the plus sign and select the timer type. In this case, we will use a start and stop timer. Tap on the detail icon to set up the timer. First, we assign a switch to start and stop the timer. We will use the same switch, Switch 2, as we used for the throttle hold operation. Tap on the Start field to bring up the Input Control dialog and briefly toggle Switch 2, set the desired switch position to activate the timer, and tap OK to exit. Follow the same procedure for setting up the timer stop function. In the Set Time field, we will enter 5 minutes for total timer time. Tap on the Run Timer icon to reset the timer for it to pick up the set time value. Exit the Timer Set menu back to the base menu. Last thing we'll be doing is adding a voice switch for when we switch on the motor. Go to the Spatial menu and select Control Notice. Tap on the plus sign to add a voice notice. Tap on the Control field to assign a control for the voice, which will be the same switch as we used for the throttle hold and time function, Switch 2. Set the same desired on position in the Switch Configuration menu and tap OK to exit. Next, we will select the voice associated with this switching event. Tap on the Voice field and select the function directory to select the motor voice. Tapping on the sound will play it, and tapping on the check mark icon will select it and highlight it. After selecting the voice, tap on the exit icon to return to the Control Notice menu. Next, we will add a state to the voice switch by tapping on the Item field from where we can select the event we would like to associate the switch with. Select the on-off event, which will be added to the primary voice when the switch is toggled. Now, when Switch 2 is toggled, it will release the throttle operation, start the timer, and announce motor on or motor off when toggled again. This concludes the basic first model setup on your mz-32. Feel free to experiment and make sure to check online for additional videos related to the mz-32.